Hey everyone, it's Miss Asma with a review of converting fractions to decimals. We learned that to convert a fraction to a decimal, it's just a simple division problem, dividing the numerator by the denominator. So let's take a look at an example, 4/5. In other words, this is saying 4 divided by 5. So we need to do some long division, 4 divided by 5. And we know that 4/5 is less than 1. So when I go ahead and divide, it makes sense when I ask myself, how many times does 5 go into 4? Well, it doesn't because our value is less than 1. So we need to add a decimal and bring it up into the quotient and add a 0. And now we ask ourselves, well, how many times does 5 go into 40? And we know that that's 8 because 8 times 5 is 40. And when we subtract, we get a 0 as a remainder. So 4/5 is equivalent to 8/10, okay, or 80/100ths, or 800,000ths. Those all mean the same thing. Okay, let's take a look at another example. If we have a whole number, 1.5, and we want to convert 1.5 to a decimal, well, we know that 1.5 is greater than 1. Okay, so our answer is going to be bigger than 1. First, we need to change this to an improper fraction. So we learned that when we multiply and then add, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. 3/2 is equivalent to 1.5, just using different numbers. So I'm going to divide 3 divided by 2. 3 divided by 2. How many times does 2 go into 3? Well, once. And that makes sense because my whole number is a 1, and our 1.5 is bigger than 1. Okay? So 2 goes into 3 once, and I have 1 as a remainder, which is also our numerator up here like we've talked about. And let's keep going because we're looking for a decimal number. I add a 0, bring it down. How many times does 2 go into 10? Well, 5 times 2 is 10, so 2 goes into 10 5 times. And so we have nothing left over. Okay, so 1.5 is equivalent to 1 5/10, or 1 50/100ths, or 1 500,000ths. They all mean the same thing. Okay, up here in the directions it says use a repeat symbol if necessary. Whenever we have a denominator of a 3 or a 6 and an 8, we have some repeating decimals. So let's take 1/3 as an example. 1 divided by 3. 3 does not go into 1. That makes sense because 1/3 is less than a whole. How many times does 3 go into 10? Well, 3 times, because 3 times 3 is 9. I have 1 as my remainder, and let's bring down another 0. And I'm asking myself again, how many times does 3 go into 10? We just asked ourselves that up here, but it goes in 3 times, and we get 3 times 3 is 9, and we have a 0. Not 0, but a remainder of 1. Ooh, hold on. All right, there we go, a remainder of 1. So if you notice, this is going to repeat on and on forever. So here are your options. We can use a repeat symbol, so 0 and 3/10 repeating. Or we can also round to the nearest 100th. Okay, so we know that this is going to go on forever. And to review, if I'm going to round to the 100ths place, I'm looking at the digit in my 1,000ths place. Here's a 3. If it's 5 or more, our 100ths place digit is going to increase 1. But if this is if this is 4 or less, my 100ths place value stays the same. Okay, so since my 1,000ths place is less than a 5, our rounded answer is 33/100ths. Okay, and rounding takes some practice too, so we'll do some extra practice. All right, that is my review from converting a fraction to a decimal. Thanks for watching.